Hi everyone, long time no see. It's April 4th, 2024. I'm back. I started this channel a year ago, and then I didn't run into it. I began working and creating a children's book, so it took all of my time. I'm finished with that, and I'm happy to be returning. Just a few things to mention. My prior videos I've pulled random, and I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to go ahead and pull from my higher consciousness, my better self, and allow them to bring forward our guest, so to speak, for message. And discussing it with my higher self last night, we decided that we would stay with people well known, so not random strangers. That would be for private readings, and if anybody cares for one, I do these privately. I'll do a video for you from a loved one. You can find me in the links. With that said, I am so happy to be back, and I look forward to this. My approach is a little different, but I hope that you guys will find it entertaining as well as informative, I guess, because there is such a connection, and there's such a love from divine that is so beautiful, you guys. Okay, and then just the disclaimer that I have to say every time, which is this: I am not claiming anything as fact. Strictly for entertainment purposes. As well as I would like to make a special note for anyone's family of anyone that comes up as a subject for one of these videos. I mean absolutely no disrespect at all. And hopefully, I mean, if this does happen, you receive something from your family member. Robin Williams is cutting in, but okay, so with all that said, here we go. Okay, so I'm trying to make these 30 minutes, and it's already been 3. Sorry, guys. It took a long time to say all of that. So with that, I'm going to take a deep breath, because that always clears the channel, and it helps receive much better. So let's go. Here's I like to say my better self, but my higher consciousness. It's just a smarter me. That's what I think. Hi. Yes, Andrea. We are happy to see you here and be back. My mind revels within it now as to choosing whom to bring forward. Okay. You don't, Okay, go ahead. We will invite no other famous person to ever walk the earth. Okay, who are we bringing in? Oh, the king of rock and roll. Elvis Presley. Wow. It's good for me. My mom was an Elvis fan, and I grew up in the 70s, and I think he died in 76, something like that. But I remember, I mean, I know every word to every album on Elvis, on every album that he's ever done. My mom. She played his records over and over and over again all throughout my life. Okay, here we go. This will be fun. Hi, Elvis. He's all, hey. Hey, I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. He says, your bright smile brightens my smile. For the knowing that you all are doing okay down there. He's acting a little shy. And for anybody's curiosity, what all I have is it's a notepad and a pencil, and I don't know if you can see it, and like scribbles, because it just kind of helps when I can't hear the first word. It just helps me. But that's all I'm doing. Sorry, Elvis. Go ahead. My debut from the stars, he says, is this day with you. Okay, so it's your first time back, big guy. How you doing? What are you doing? I am well. I am well. To the viewers, he's saying he is well. He is in the Christ consciousness. Well, aren't we all, though, Elvis, when we leave here? Yes. We all are. He says whether we remain in spirit or incarnate. He's all, I did. And I did incarnate. Oh, so that's exciting. I'm sorry, guys. Elvis, I can't even imagine just offering you 13 minutes for anybody that any of your fans still here, still surviving, or any of the second generation below those fans like me. I just can't even imagine. I'll take no more of your time. Go ahead. Andrea, your satin leisure in that chair is much like the satin in my voice. He says, and I almost prefer to hear you talk than me. But I know I'm here for my words. Yes, you are. I am well, everyone. I am on top of the world. He says, no, I'm really on top of the world as we speak. As I am he's the large plane pilot. You're a pilot like a 747. Andrea, I fly passengers with my jets. Okay, so he's driving a commercial airliner, right? I am a commercial pilot. I view through my small window the world beneath me. He says it is mightier than. Than any song to surface to a recording, to be applied to a record. I value my history. Don't get me wrong. I value my fans. For they were the blessing upon that whole career. He's saying that whole whirlwind of what took his life going slow to really fast. He says he had a schedule to where he had a schedule that allowed him to see what time it was. It was that categorized and that strict. I never let my public down, Andrea. I was there for every event. Excuse me. Sorry, Elvis. I showed at every event, even when I didn't have the strength to do so. My fans were my party. They were the sparkle in my eyes for their cheering due my presence. He's just lifted my spirits a lot to the heights he is now, because he is currently, as we speak, in flight due to land in Colorado. 14 minutes. That's so cool. I love that. How's your co-pilot? I'm sure you have one. He's ornery. He says, okay. All right, continue, please. I'm sorry, guys. My fans. Also, if I'm crying, it's because I feel love, not because he's sad. I feel the love. My fans were he's saying clockwork, his ticking, his heartbeat. It's what I registered within my life to be worthy of such a hectic, restrictive schedule for him. I sacrificed my freedoms, my off time, for none. Encouraged only by my fans needing and wanting for my presence. He said letting them down would be the last thing in the world I'd ever want to do. I died not in a... Andrea, you're remembering. He says, yes, I am. I'm remembering being not locked out of the house, but kept out of the house when Mom found out that you died. Go ahead. My death, though be it barbiturate, I hadn't altered my regimen of how I woke and how I went to sleep. He had stimulants when he woke, and he had downers to put him to sleep, to help him sleep. I died at 4:47 in my hotel room. For I had an 8:30 concert. Did you say concert? I had to arrive at the casino by 8 or 8:30. 8 by 8. Okay. And it was 4:47. You said when you passed. Said yes. Andrea, my schedule allowed for me a little sleep. Forced sleep was necessary if I was going to continue to carry a schedule like that. I carried that schedule. He was diligent. He was very reserved and regimented. He was very strict on how he did things. when it was time for before a concert or some big so, wherever he was going to go, some big appointment or crowd fest, he's calling it, where a crowd will be there. He knew that the importance of his sleep, and prescribed by a doctor, I would take 2. He wants to say a name, but he's allowing me barbiturate, a downer. I would take 2 20 minutes before I was scheduled to sleep, allowing myself for 3-4 hours. I said yes, 4 hours. Okay. Prior to my rising, he shot a stimulant. When I say shot, he took. They were pharmaceutical speed, Andrea. Okay. I took the necessary supply, his necessary dose, long prior to my passing in the bathroom. As I said, I was very scheduled. I took them at 2:30. I took the 2 barbiturates at 2:30 p.m. For 3, okay, so he would be asleep by 3 p.m. for 4 hours and wake by 7. That makes so much sense. He's all, thank you very much. Okay. So you took those at 2:30, and what happened, Elvis? I went into the restroom or to the restroom. I pooped, Andrea. Then he mouthwashed, he rinsed his mouth, washed his hands. I removed my trousers and my socks. Elvis didn't like to sleep in socks, he said. He says, I don't know if my fans knew that or not. Socks, he didn't like socks. He could hardly handle them on his feet. He said, but rest assured, I wore them on my feet when I was in public. My sheets were going to feel good, especially to my bare feet. Just before getting into them, he's showing me, he's sitting on the side of his bed and he's taking his watch off and he's almost ready to just get in the covers, and my stomach started flipping. Nausea. He tried to swallow it down as if it would soon pass. But then it became violent, which stood him up and got him to the bathroom. And he lifted the toilet lid and were you on your knees? He said, I got down on my knees. So he did some praying to the porcelain gods. He said, and I emptied the contents of my stomach. I could see what I had for lunch. He's saying ham. He said ham, and it looked like something like egg, but I don't recall eating egg. He said, okay. Andrea, by the time I felt emptied and wiped the sweat off his brow, I went to the sink. I drank a glass of water, for the cleaning of my mouth and for the clearing of my throat and everything. And he said, I remember looking in the mirror as he was like kind of leaning on the sink. And I remember wondering what I should be doing right now. Should I put more food in my stomach, or should I take 2 more pills? Because he didn't. Either way, the way that I chose was to take 2 more pills for fear that I wouldn't get the rest that I needed to later be alert for my fans. That's what weighed on his chest the most. Naturally, of course, prior to taking 2 more, where they were heavy doses, he's saying he computed, he registered, he thought through the dangers of taking so much of it. But had his stomach being emptied, my stomach was on the full-blown natural empty. He hadn't considered the absorption of those pills so fast in his system, for he only took them, he's saying 13 minutes before his stomach went. He's thinking, oh Lord, that egg that I didn't eat, maybe perhaps that was the medicine, like, or the barbiturates. He didn't know. But he was assuming, is like, I just took them 10 minutes ago, so they couldn't have dissolved. And he said, my fans were my everything. I idolized them much more than they ever idolized me. And to them, I hope for their forgiveness. He says, my heart registered and valued with you way more than what the headlines would say. I never got between, or I never got to you for the headlines always being in the way. My taking 2 more barbiturates was to cause my demise, my breath to stop, short of my next appearance with my next appointment with my fans. And for that, I'm dearly sorry, he says. I remain forever in regret for the sorrow that he left behind, for his so many fans. I'm sorry. My death was to come. Okay, 47. So I must have got 447 wrong. It must have been 347. 347. Andrea, my death was to come 47 minutes after I took the other 2 barbiturates, the second dose. He's saying a prescription. I don't know why you're saying that. I'm not truly inspired as to the record in the way that I reflected my abusing anything. I was strict on everything that I did. A military robot. He says Andrea is referring to or remembering how I started gaining so much weight towards the end of my life. I'm hearing infodemic, or he measured body weight in much water. I was swelling due to the retention of the water that he reserved. Do a restricting of his, I'm seeing all the little veins, his vascular, his arteries, he's saying. And he's saying my stolen arteries. Stolen by the encasement of the drugs I was taking. So he's saying the filler. Andrea, the encasings were the rubber type coating over them. Interesting. Like, you mean the Jello capsules? Andrea, the banded capsules, which are the sealed ones, were made of a rubber material, a rubber ingredient, he's saying, which was to be the leading to the causing of my arteries restricting. For they're finding their resting place along the walls of his arteries and building up. Wow. Andrea, I was suited he was suited for open heart surgery for the clearing of his heart arteries. And it was due to come in less than 2 months of his the last performance he planned on having that night, the day of. My pouring onto you for those worshiping me, loving me, counting on me. I'm pouring out my details of the event for your knowing, for my own soul's knowing, that you understand that nothing could have buried him and his love for you had he had anything to do with it. My own consciousness, his awareness of his not feeling good after he took those 2 pills. Is that what you mean? Yes, the effects of the second 2 came faster than the first 2 ever would have. This due to his empty contents in his stomach. My empty stomach, Andrea, produced for a very strong, fast absorption of the other 2. It had not mixed well with only water in my stomach. For this, I found myself standing before the bathroom again, the sink, and he's leaning. And he's looking into the mirror, trying to figure out what he's to do. And his legs felt very weak. So, I mean, he just turned and he closed the lid to the toilet so he could make a fast sitting on it, so as to not fall down. My knees were more than rubber. They were like marshmallow, he said. Like there was nothing to them. And he kind of like somebody paralyzed from the waist down with his hands, got himself to where he could sit on the toilet. Therefore, the headlines that he was found on the toilet. Andrea, I was found at the nearest place I could find to rest my body, for it was not going to hold me up anymore. I sat there, realizing and relieved that I was not going to fall. It was my fall from grace. In the eyes of those that I meant so much to and that meant so much to me. But please know, he says, there is no fall from grace once we leave our bodies behind. He said, I am in heaven as far as I can see. My landing gear has dropped, he said. Not quite ready to land, but it's dropped. I can see him flipping switches. Elvis, that was clarifying, is if anything, huh? I meant for so much more to tell my fans. For within our timing. I will extend, Elvis. I'll extend. I know what an Elvis fan is, because my mom was. I grew up with an Elvis fan. How could I not be one too, huh? There's so many of us still. He says, I would buy a dirt road for every single one of my fans, just so they can leave dust in my wake. To leave me standing there. In a way of justifying or balancing how he left you guys. My dirt road never ends. He says, in my lifetime there, it never ended. I never got that dust to dissipate or be cleared between me and my fans. I never had enough time with my fans. I didn't have opportunity to exchange the knowing of each other, aside from just a few tapping of the hands. My regret will always be the lack of time allowed me the serving of my fans, just the getting to know them. They were the meaning of my life, my career, and the sole purpose of why I got up and did this rigorous schedule every day for the so many years of my life. When I wasn't doing live events, I was recording something. When I wasn't recording something or doing live events, I was learning something, practicing something for an event or a recording to come. My fellowship within my church suffered, within my family suffered, within my relationship, my personal relationship with my fans suffered. In the end, he says, my hand on every gospel I ever did, there is no suffering. He says, Andrea, I will excuse you for your time. You don't have to, though. Can you just tell us a little, let me interrupt you, okay? It's been 35, so just give me 3 minutes. Or allow me to offer you 3 minutes. Elvis, how old are you? I'm 27, and in the height of my life, I have 2 toddlers, so they're both still in diapers. Yes, they are both. They're both boys. I will wed my fiance. They want to give it 3 more years before they get married. That's beautiful. I am satisfied with he's kind of laughing, my rigorous schedule. Not very demanding, even though being a father of 2 in a happy partnership, happy relationship, and being a pilot with those hours, he's very happy. I'm blessed. He says, I've always been blessed. He's all, please excuse me, I'm going to land my plane. Thank you, Elvis. Wow, that was good. Wow. All right, guys, that was a pretty good one for my my first video back. So stay tuned, guys. I'm gonna keep doing these. That one was amazing. Spirit feels so good. I just love it. It makes me so happy though, and sad. Not sad in a sad way, but just the emotions of how sad it is that we don't realize. We're so busy missing them and being sad that they're gone. We don't realize that they're not gone. So, happy to bring message. That was really cool. Thanks. Talk to you guys later.